Wham! Talk 1600. You're catching the drift. Conservative talk. Intelligent conversations on local, state, and national issues with Gary Wellings, chief editor of the Current newspaper and Current Online. Join in the conversation at 734-822-1600. And now, your host, Gary Wellings.
And good Saturday afternoon. Thanks for tuning in to catch our drift. Joining me in studio, Brandon Drake.
Good Saturday afternoon to you as well.
Yeah, good to have you aboard. It's sunny. It's warm out for a change.
Beautiful.
Goodbye, winter. Just jinxed ourselves. You know, it's going to get cold next week, right?
It's a great day to go out and get a sunburn.
Okay, well, welcome to the drift. This is what
Feel
we
the
do.
burn.
Feel the burn. Yes, feel the burn. Burn's feeling the burn right now with the delegate steal by Hillary Clinton and the DNC. Debbie Wasserman Schultz stealing all those delegates. Schultz?
I know nothing.
All right, well, what we do on the Drift every Saturday is go over the news of the week that we put on the Daily Drift. And if you're not going to the Daily Drift, you should be. It's the news you need to know. You get over there, www.thedailydrift.com, and get involved. So, and if you want to advertise in the Current newspaper this for the May edition, make sure you call me, 734-629-6010, and advertise in the Current. We've grown our newspaper 500% in the last decade. It's been a pretty bad decade, but we've managed some pretty phenomenal growth. So get hold of me or go to currentonline.com, COURANT online.com.
COU, rantonline.com.
COU, rant. You rant. Well, we do rant on this show. That's what we do. You can call into the show, 734-822-1600. And let's take care of a little business. Regency of Whitmore Lake has 24-hour nursing care, long-term care, subacute rehab, secure memory unit, life enrichment, and all the good things that you need if you got a little rehabilitation or need some extra care. So Regency of Whitmore Lake, you can go to www.sienahealthcare.com. That's Siena, C-I-E-N-A, healthcare.com. Or you can call them at 734-449-5505. It's right down the street from my house. So they've done a really nice job renovating the place. It's in top condition. Great people. Get over there and give them a holler if you need some help with rehab.
When I hear the word subacute, it reminds me of the subcutaneous fat around my belly from the winter.
Well, yes, slightly below. I don't know. My Latin is. Did I ever tell you I had a Latin class in sixth grade? We had a teacher
in sixth grade.
In sixth grade, it was public schools, mind you.
Oh, but it was Pig Latin, wasn't it?
No. This teacher said, kids, I'm tired of teaching English. You think we can get away with just learning Latin this year? We all went, yes, because we don't want to learn English again, right? So he taught us Latin for the entire year. And nobody complained. I'm sure nowadays they'd probably throw him under the bus or suspend him or something. But it stuck with me because I can look at words I don't know, and because of that year of Latin, I can normally figure out what it is, what it means, how to pronounce it, that sort of thing. Latin is so important.
Absolutely. I read a book on learning the meaning of words, and Latin and Greek seem to be the two main 80% of our English words seem to come from those two languages. So you learn the roots, and you can figure out most meanings of most words.
The roots of civilization.
A little bit of German in there, too.
Okay, well, something else we learned from the Greeks was a little bit about democracy, right? And Jimmy Shield called us in last week from he having just attended the Michigan Convention, which picked our delegates to go to the National Convention for the RNC. That's the Republican side of the ticket. And we discovered that, according to Jimmy, that the delegation had...
Not all is kosher.
Not all is kosher. And we've got a special guest calling in today, Bill Gordon, a friend of mine who also attended. Bill, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Bill, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you stellar. Perfect. It's great. So, Bill, you went to the convention, the Michigan Convention last week, right?
That's correct. I was a delegate from the 12th District.
Okay.
Which is... Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti, and parts east.
Okay, and let me ask you, so having attended when the slate was brought forward, did you have any input into the slate that the state brought forward, that the RNC brought forward for sending to Cleveland?
For the at-large delegates that are picked over and above what happened when the individual district caucuses.
Mm-hmm.
No, other than the delegates have to approve the slate from the floor. And it was an interesting event. I can see why people would be chagrined. They basically put the names up on a video board, and you had a chance to look at them for a short period of time, not more than a minute or so, not long enough to write them down. And then the chair called from the podium for a vote, and I did not hear a great deal of protest from my point in the hall, and it probably depends on where you were standing as to how, whether anybody was protesting how it went down. My thoughts on it, my only saving grace on the whole thing is my understanding was that all three of the campaigns had input and were, given significant input on who got picked for those alternate spots. And it's really about who got picked for the Trump spots, because the Kasich and Cruz alternate spots there were only 3 each, so it's pretty limited. And basically the most high-profile people are going to go. Like Lieutenant Governor Calley is a Kasich delegate,
right?
Not going to bump him probably.
Right. Well, and that's the aggravating part, because Brian Calley is going to vote for Kasich on round 1 because he has to, and he's going to vote for him on round 2 because he has to, and probably 3, 4, and 5, however there many are, because that's who he's backing.
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you something. So when Jimmy told us this last week and the list came out, I went into high gear from an investigative standpoint. I don't do this a lot anymore because I'm kind of burning out. I hate to say it. I'm just burning out. But I was so incensed by what Jimmy told us last week that I went ahead and I did a little background check on the Trump delegates, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so let's be positive, right? The guys that I looked up their social media accounts, the Twitter, the Facebook, and looked for them. Because if you're a Trump supporter, you're pretty vocal about it. That's one thing you can say about Trump supporters. They're doggone vocal.
Sure.
Me included. I'm all over my Twitter and Facebook with Trump. And I know I've got friends who are Cruz supporters, and they give me grief all the time, which is fine. We're friends. I can take the heat. I got thick skin. But let's do something good here. I went through and I found the following people who are indeed Trump delegates and who I know will vote round 1 because they have to, but they'll also vote for Trump, and I expect them to stick by it for 2 or 3 votes anyways. In the end, if it's not going to happen, I can understand you have to compromise. That's the process, right?
Exactly.
But Senator Jack Brandenburg from here in Michigan, good guy. Obviously, you look at his Twitter and Facebook, big Trump supporter. Google him up, you'll see it. He's a Trump supporter. Amy Carl, thank you for being a Trump supporter. Scott Hagerstrom, also big Trump supporter. Matt Hall.
Chair of the campaign.
Yeah, thank you very much. Matt Hall, great supporter. Senator Joe Hune, kind of surprised me a little bit. I didn't think he was going to be a Trump supporter, but he is.
He is.
Chris Morris, Trump supporter, and obviously shows his support on all the social media. Deb Manti, Diane Schindelbeck, and Michonne Maddock, all big Trump supporters. Pretty easy to see that. When you've got lists and lists of posts that are pro-Trump, I feel very comfortable with those people. Okay?
Sure.
And I haven't done, I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't get a chance to go through the Cruz people. And I'm going to say this right now. Those of you who are Cruz supporters, do your homework. And don't rely on me to do it. I'll get to it eventually, but you know what? Do your homework, because if you are a delegate to the national convention, you should have enough faith and honor to stand by your delegate through a few votes. I mean, Kasich is the guy that should be worried. He's the loser in the pack. He's the one that should be worried. But there were a couple of unknowns that didn't have any Facebook or Twitter accounts, Glenn Frobel and Janine Katef, so I couldn't say whether they were kind of pro or not. But then there were people that kind of had my spider senses tingling, and this was a Mary Balkema, who is politically connected, seems establishment, not a Twitter or Facebook post with anything Trump-related. Kathy Burden, another establishment-connected person, no Trump or Facebook on Twitter or Facebook. Steve Boren, the same. Brant Iden, the same. Rick Johnson, Ed McBroom, Wes Nakagiri. I know Wes a little bit. I sent him a message asking him, hey, Wes, are you really a Trump supporter? And if not, is there a reason why you happen to
I
be a
can
Trump
comment
delegate?
on some of these. Keep going.
Okay. If you do, just jump in. Any of
Okay.
those people?
Well, I'm assured that Wes is a Trump supporter. I have no doubt about that.
Okay. Well, it's good to know. It's good to know. I'll take him off the thing. What's interesting is I just didn't see anything.
Silent majority.
Yeah. Well,
Well, there you go. All right. So,
Well,
Wes,
silent,
my
I talked to
apologies
him.
for putting you on that list. If you are indeed a Trump supporter, I love you. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
I say that. I'm not mad at anyone if they're a Cruz supporter. You know what I mean?
Well,
what bothers me is that I expect
and just
them.
truth in advertising, I am a alternate delegate for Ted Cruz. Just so you know.
Okay, so you're a
But-
Cruz. So you're a Cruz supporter.
Correct.
Okay, so and that's fine.
And I have been for a couple years, so it's not like I'm trying to dance around anything.
Yeah, and he's still my second pick. I'm not real happy with a lot of the things that he's done. Would I vote for him over Hillary or Bernie? Absolutely.
Exactly.
But I'm not happy with the way he has handled his campaign. I think he's done, and we can talk about that later. But what about any of the others so far that I mentioned?
Well, I know Kathy Burden relatively well. I've talked to her several times. She's certainly a good conservative person.
Yeah.
I have no doubt about her values. I think Kathy, and you were probably heading towards Ronna Romney McDaniel, who I believe is on that list.
Yeah.
In both those cases, they are automatic delegates to the National Convention. And under the Michigan rules, they have to be committed to somebody.
Right.
And I can only assume that the campaigns discussed this and it was, agreed upon. I think in both their cases, they're very honorable people, and they've pretty much taken a public commitment that they will support Trump as long as Trump's a candidate.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll take your word for it. If social media is not everything, so it's not the be-all and end-all.
I mean, I know Ronna catches a lot of heat different times. I think she's a good person and relatively in line with, conservative Tea Party views or whatever. But you have to realize she's state party chair. She has to talk to everybody.
Right.
So.
Okay, so another one on the list then, Gustavo Portela, Ronna Romney McDaniel, which you just talked about. Here's a guy that should not be a Trump delegate in my book. Ian Shetron, Shetron. No Trump, no pro anything, a definite Kasich supporter, which makes, all I'm saying, Bill, is that if you're a delegate for Trump, you ought to be honorable enough and a strong enough supporter to stick by him. Because here's my thought. The two biggest guys from the Michigan primary were way out front, Donald Trump, and then Ted Cruz, and Kasich ran a close third. So you know what? On a second or third ballot, the top two guys shouldn't be shedding their votes, especially if they're shedding them to Kasich. And let me ask you this. Are we going to know how those second, third, and fourth, is there going to be a record of those ballots?
I have never been to a national convention. It's my first time, so I can't tell you how the process works from any past experience. I would be relatively certain that the people within the Michigan delegation are going to know how people are voting, what the exact process, if it's a recorded vote or if it's done in a caucus form. I don't know that.
Right. Well,
I have a feeling. I'm pretty certain. Me being there or whoever's the delegate at the moment on the floor is going to know what people are doing.
Okay. Are you going to Cleveland?
It.
Are you going to Cleveland?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I'm hoping I can count on you to try and keep track and bring us back some of that information, because I'd like to know with these. If there are people who are Trump delegates or Cruz delegates, and they immediately on the second vote go to Kasich, I want to know. Because you know what? Those people are not honorable. Those people do not belong as delegates in my book, because they're just phonies. They're just political hacks. And I don't care if they're Cruz.
There certainly can be concern of that, or people in sheep's clothing trying to impersonate other delegates. There's certainly reason to be concerned in some cases. I know from my experience, both of the delegations that affect Washtenaw County, the people involved made very public statements that they were going to support the candidate that they're dedicated to till they're not a candidate.
Right.
And in the case, for instance, in the case of Kasich delegates in the 12th district, there were only two that filed. So those people are Kasich delegates, but I don't know, 2 or 3 ballots down the road where they're going to go.
Right.
But so it can go both ways. I do know that, the Trump delegation, if it holds together, has the majority in the delegation. and they showed that they exercised that in the first meeting of delegates we had, where we had to elect committee people.
Okay, so let me continue down this list here. How about a Sharon Tyler? No,
don't know Sharon.
Okay, no Twitters, no Facebooks for Trump. Susan Kamilski. I didn't see any Twitters of Trump's for her.